On this episode of The Bourbon Captain, I'll be comparing two bourbons that many people believe come from the same stock. Further proof that the internet loves a conspiracy theory. I'm excited to put these out of state cousins head to head. Let's get our mythbusters on and see what we can learn. Welcome to The Bourbon Captain. We're thrilled you're back for another show. Today we're going to be doing a true head-to-head to test the similarities of Blanton's classic single barrel against a bourbon that many people feel comes from the same Buffalo Trace stock, John J Bowman single barrel from Virginia. Now, let me break this down for you from a fundamental standpoint. We focus on real comparisons, real differences, and real fun, so that you can walk into a liquor store with confidence instead of standing there Googling, what type of bourbon should I buy? We'll break down different bottles so that you don't have to pretend to understand what hints of saddle leather mean. I think if you follow the advice that we lay down, you're going to get very comfortable walking down the aisles, looking at different bottles, and building your bourbon knowledge. If you enjoy what we're doing, please like, subscribe, and leave us a comment and let us know what you're drinking. Unless it's Fireball. If it is, you might be on the wrong channel. I'm excited for this comparison. If you haven't heard it before, the story between these two bottles is that Bowman is actually sourced from Buffalo Trace distillate, shipped to Virginia, redistilled, aged in Bowman rickhouses, bestowed with Appalachian holy water, and bottled. Now, Sazerac does own both distilleries, so the theory isn't crazy. In fact, some people go as far as to call Bowmans Virginia Blantons, which sounds ambitious. Okay, let's get the juice in the glens and see what we can learn. Most of you know Blantons. It's the bourbon that convinced the world that horse stoppers were actual currency. Now, I'm not among those that covet Blantons at the top of Bourbon Mountain. In fact, I'm not even sure it's some of the best stuff coming out of Frankfort, Kentucky right now. However, what is indisputable is the role that Blantons played in driving the single barrel concept into the mainstream. Elmer T. Lee ran things at Buffalo Trace for many years, and he had the brilliant idea back in the 80s of showcasing the honey barrels from Buffalo Trace's Rickhouse H. He took the best of them and he created the Blantons brand. Now, it initially flopped in the US, but was a huge hit over in Japan. And Americans were like, wait a minute, fancy bottle, horse on top? Shit, I'll stand in line all night. Now, the quality of the bourbon, the elegance of the rhombicube octahedron shaped bottle, along with the horse galloping stoppers, made Blantons a highly coveted, fairly rare, and often overpriced bottle in the US. A few things we know about Blantons are that it's bottled at 93 proof and it comes from Buffalo Trace's mashbill number 2, which is known to be high rye. It's thought to be 6 to 8 years old, but there's no age statement because a little mystery is sexy. Over on the Bowman side, the brand dates back to 1934 and today boasts 4 primary bottles: the John J, Isaac Bowman, A. Smith Bowman, and Bowman Brothers Bourbons, each with a different flavor profile. The John J that we're going to be stacking up against the Blantons today comes in at 100 proof. It's aged around 9 to 10 years, but it does not share its mash bill. And that's where the controversy and the myth begins. While it's widely believed that Bowman sources the John J's distillate from Buffalo Trace, it's not clear which mash bill is used. And it's also kind of strange that while the John J is considered to be a replacement for Blantons, that it's so much less available out on the shelves. Just more proof that the bourbon gods hate us. Now, when I found this bottle, it was out in a groovy little store in San Francisco. It was overpriced, and I knew that, but I had to get the bottle. Now let's find out just how close the John J comes to the iconic. 'Iconic' 'Blantons. 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 ' Oh, yeah. That smells like a bourbon that knows it's famous. Wow. That's the magic of Buffalo Trace right there. Even though we know this is high rye, the sweetness, the fruit flavors that I get in this are fantastic. I'm a sucker for cherry, and it really comes through on the finish there. That is it's a bourbon that really earns its fine reputation. Now over to the Bowmans. Nothing wrong there. Pleasant on the nose. Mm. Well, I can say this: the John J Bowman is identical to the Blantons if Blantons had a little less flavor, a little less character and finish. Um, I think it's a fine bourbon. I'm not sure how people would ever confuse the two. I think John J. Bowman's probably one of the best bourbons coming out of Virginia, and I think it's a fun one to hunt and explore. But I don't think that I would recommend it as a close substitute, at all for Bowman for Blanton. Sorry, I get very different notes and very different flavor on that. So here's where I'm at on these two bottles. Blanton's reputation is very well earned. It's a really good bourbon. We could debate all night whether it's a great one. But the one thing that I am certain of is that John J. Bowman is not Virginia Blanton's. It's a good bottle in its own right, and I can't challenge that it doesn't come from Buffalo Trace Distillate. I'm just not sure it's the same mash bill. But between the two, it's an easy call. I'm going with Blanton's. Yeah. Now, part of the mystery still exists. Which mash bill does John J. Bowman come from? With Blanton's coming from mash bill number two, I don't think that's it. Mash bill number one, however, does present some interesting possibilities. And it just so happens that we have something here that might help us solve the problem. A fresh bottle of Eagle Rare. I call it the quiet assassin of the Buffalo Trace lineup. Let's get a little bit of this in a Glen. Mm, love that sound. All right. Oh boy. That's good. Yeah. Yeah. For the purposes of comparison and in the name of science, I feel like I have to try the Bowman. I don't like its chances. Yeah. While I'm starting to feel pretty good, I don't think I'm any more clear on our mash bill problem here. John J. Bowman doesn't seem to be a close fit with either one of these two mash bills, but no doubt about it, the Eagle Rare is a great bottle. So here's where I'm at on these bottles. And remember, this is about taste and value, not hype. The Blantons at an MSRP of around $80, absolutely grab it. It's a good bottle. But be patient. You should not have to pay the $100 to $175 that I see it on many secondary stores. The John J. Bowman, hey, it's a lot of fun to hunt for bottles, and finding them is terrific. I just wouldn't go around telling my friends that John J. Bowman is a substitute for Blanton's. But grab the bottle, invite a buddy over, blind them side by side. That can be a lot of fun. But of the three, for my money, it's the Eagle Rare. It comes in cheaper than both of these. The flavor is absolutely superior. It's a great bourbon. And that's a great place for us to end the show tonight. So, hopefully, you're learning something. You're getting more confident as you're walking down the aisles and pulling bottles off. Until next time, bottoms up, sailors. This is the Bourbon Captain. Out.